Welcome everyone. If you're new here, I'm Tonya. Today I'm going to be working on Dollar Tree Spring DIYs. And if you happen to be returning today, well, thank you so much for coming back again. Now, before we get started in our DIYs, I hope you'll consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell so you'll be notified when I upload videos. Let's go ahead and start with In the Garden Bunny Wreath. Everyone, this was so simple and I love how it turned out. I had picked up that wreath from the Dollar Tree Plus section, and I had my scrapbooking paper in my craft stash, and I just decided to take one of those wood rounds and just glue this right onto there. And all I had to do was glue it onto the back of this wreath. And I really like to leave some of my bunny decor up throughout the spring and summer season. But isn't this a pretty piece of paper? It's really old, but I thought it looked so pretty with this wreath. And honestly, I'm not going to do anything else to this. I thought about adding a bow, which you very well could, but I like my designs really simple, so I just left this one really simple. And I may hang this on my wall or on the front door, but look how pretty this turned out. What a pretty piece to leave up all season long. Now everyone, all of these are Dollar Tree DIYs today. Now the next one was inspired by Antique Farmhouse. And I thought this was just really simple. It was just a spring wall art. So I took a couple of those wood boards that I had picked up. And I took some book pages, and I have a little mini food processor that I like to chop the papers up in. And I decided to use this so I could get like a textured look on the wood. So I mixed some of my white linen chalk paint and the school glue in with the chopped up book pages, and once this dried, it was really neat looking. I really like the textured look that it gives to the board, and I thought it would just be fun. I'll show you here in a minute. I'm going to hold the phone up and you'll see where I got my inspiration from at the Antique Farmhouse, and it was just really neat. See, those are so pretty. So I decided just to take a watercolor pencil, and I did a light gray so I could just kind of sketch on, and then I took my glue gun and just went over all my lines. And everyone, this technique turned out really well, so I hope this one gives you some inspiration. And then I just ended up taking some white paint and just dabbing all on the little spots of glue. And the reason why I done that is because I'm going to be using some of that gold rub and buff, and I needed to have the paint on top of the glue for that to kind of stick. But everyone, this made a really fun and simple design. And if you follow my channel, of course you know I love neutral decor, and I just thought this was just a really simple and fun spring design that you could leave up. And honestly, you could just leave this design up all year long. But isn't this pretty when you start dabbing on the little gold rub and buff? And I really like that. I think it's a fun little technique to use. So if you haven't give that one a try, I hope you consider doing so. But everyone, I'm happy to be back creating with you. I have been super busy this spring, and I'll try to get back on schedule. We just have a lot to do in the spring. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I sprayed my wire baskets here from Dollar Tree, but I do want to tell you I've got a haul coming up, and they actually have the black baskets now, so I'll be showing you what I found in the next video. But look how pretty these are. I just decided to pop them in these baskets just to give them that light, airy feel. And I just thought this was a neat one for inspiration. And you could always add pops of color in here if you like. Now for the next design, I'm going to do this vintage garden tray. And the reason why I call it this is I like to have these trays that look really old and vintage. And then when your flowers start growing and you want to dry them out, you can just maybe tie them up with a piece of twine or rope and just lay them in there, or even just lay your fresh flowers in there to dry. And I just think that's really pretty vintage look. Now you can see I was taking more of that gold rub and buff, and I used just some of that white linen paint on that and just scuffed everything up. And of course that's one of those walled tiles that I use there in the center. I think we've all seen those at Dollar Tree. And I went a little bit heavy on that gold rub and buff on this one because I was trying to get a layered technique to this. But boy, I thought this tray turned out so pretty. It looks completely different than what it looked like when I purchased it, and I really like that. Now that's the white wax that I'm putting on there. And here's just some little flowers that I had, and I decided to use mine just as a shelf sitter. So I displayed it and took these little flowers in the rope twine, and just as if they were some dried flowers, and just hung them on there. And I just thought this give a really neat vintage look. Now for our next design, I'm going to be taking 4 of these picture frames and just making another spring wall art. And I really love these. I haven't seen these at Dollar Tree before, and I picked them up a couple of weeks ago. And I thought they were pretty the way they were, but I decided to use some Rust-Oleum. I believe it's, let's see, it's coming up, hammered. And I like the look this has. It has a little bit of a sheen to it, which every once in a while I like to pull that color into my neutral color palette. And then of course I'm using those little wood pieces that they have there at Dollar Tree. And I decided to do a crackling look on this, and I used the white linen. I went ahead and put a coat of that on first, and then I added some glue and a little bit of burnt umber on here, and I was just wanting to get that little bit of dark peeking through. And this worked out really well, but everyone, I will say, make sure you let this dry really well before you start doing anything on top of it. I'm going to be using rub-on transfers, and it didn't dry really well, so I had a little bit of problem with that. But look how pretty these crackled. I thought those look really neat, and I thought that would make a really neat design in behind the hammered color of the frames. Now I'm going to put some Mod Podge on here because I am going to be using some of those vintage style rub-on transfers that I had picked up back in the first of the year there, and I just wanted to use them up. I've been trying to go through a lot of my craft stash and get that all used up before I buy new. But I'm going to go ahead and rub these on here. Now, some of these didn't rub off well, but you can see I was really just trying to get kind of a background look of kind of like that vintage style in there. So I just started placing these everywhere just to use them up. And once I got everything put together, it turned out really pretty. Now I'm going to use my tacky glue and a little hot glue to glue my wood panels onto the back here. But everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful start to spring. I know, like I said, this is such a busy time, and I have been a little bit off schedule, but I will get back on there again. I do a lot of my own seed planting and flowers, and we just have a lot to do. Our yard's really big, so I'm hoping to see you again midweek, and I'm going to have a Dollar Tree haul coming up for you because we're going to take a trip this weekend and see what else I can find. I've already found several goodies. Now, once I get these glued together, I'm going to just use some of the craft sticks on the back, and I do end up covering this up with some of the brown craft paper. But I thought this looked so pretty once I got it all together, and then I just decided to take some florals out of my craft stash. And of course, they've got plenty of florals at Dollar Tree you can use for this design. But I thought this made a really pretty little wall art piece for the spring season. And you can see I've got like the little bee up there and just some of the florals popping through in those rub-on transfers. And that's just a bow that I happen to have in my craft stash, so I decided to pop that on there real quick. And then I'm just going to take some more of this greenery. I did pick that greenery up at Dollar Tree. And just add a little dab to there. And then I'm going to be finishing this off, like I said, putting on that craft paper. And I really like using that on the back of designs. It just kind of finishes it off and covers up everything in the back. But here this one is. I've got it hanging up on the wall for you so you can see how it looks, and I just think it turned out so pretty. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed these quick, simple DIYs today. And if so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you consider doing so. I would love to have you as part of my YouTube family. And I will hopefully see you soon.